Hello, everyone. This is Ivan with Create Your Future. And today I'm really excited because I have a special guest joining me. Well, actually, not a special guest, my boss. She's joining me. Hi, Amanda.
No, I like to be a special guest.
You are, you're always,
Yes.
you're also my boss. So it's so
Oh, that's
exciting.
right. I never think of it that way.
I know. It's like you're the friendliest boss I've ever had.
A lot of people say that.
I
Thank
also,
you.
I also want to remind you that we're currently running a contest where as soon as we hit 100,000 subscribers, three lucky winners will be chosen and they will get a free coaching session with the coach of your choice. All you have to do is comment down below how the law of attraction or the law of assumption has helped you out. And please make sure you're subscribed to the channel, that you like and you share this video so it gets to a lot of people so we can reach that goal even sooner. All right. So today's video, Amanda, I wanted to do something a little different, okay? And I wanted to bring you on as support for this a little different to see the how the viewers interact with this type of video, which is having your pocket coach. Okay, so I'm going to give you three of my favorite techniques that I personally really enjoy, and I'll give you a little in depth of how I use them and how I shared it with some of my clients. And as I told you before we started the video, is I didn't want to have a success story in this video because I've noticed a pattern amongst a lot of my clients where they actually compare their story to the success that we talk about. Now, keep in mind that we talk about successes because we want to inspire you. And remember that everyone has a different journey. So no success story because we're going to focus on your success today. All
Yeah.
right.
And you know what? And I used to do that too. I remember when I was first starting out and I'd see other people, having all their videos and all these views. And I would think, why them? Why not me? And then I would see success stories and I would compare myself to it. And the biggest changing thing that I did was I said, well, wait a minute, hold on. Everyone's me pushed out. This is my reality. I'm like, if they can get a million views, I'm going to get a million views. So I would start using other people's success as my own personal catalog. And as well as hearing other people's success stories, I changed my perception of it. And I said, you know what, this is giving me ideas. Oh, I like that idea, I'm going to take that. So I would use other people's success and their success stories and the great things that I saw them creating, and instead of beating myself up going, why isn't it happening for me, I went, nope, this is going to be my personal catalog to get me ideas, right?
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I'll see something and I'll be like, oh, that's awesome, I'm going to create that. I was with somebody and they were like, well, I always get treated like a VIP. And I was like, oh, good idea. So I started saying that. And I went to this hotel once and this wasn't a very high-end hotel, like at all. Like it was just for an appointment. I needed to be somewhere. I was just like, whatever. And I went in, I told Andrew to wait in the truck. I went in. I'm sorry, I'm putting a success story in here, guys. I went in and I was like, oh, I checked in and I said, I got some bags. And he was like, okay, hold on a second. I said, well, where's one of those cart things, And he's like, well, I'll get you one. And then all of a sudden he comes out with a bellhop. The bellhop packs all our bags, brings them upstairs, unpacks them, gives me a tour of the room. And I'm thinking, wow, this is a great hotel. But until later, I didn't realize when the next day I saw everyone doing their own. So it was only for me.
Yeah, but also like, when you're comparing yourself to others, it's like you're conditioning your work. You're conditioning your own story because you're not, comparison is not kind to your manifestation process.
No.
It's like it's like you want to feel like you're the one. You are the one. So it is your journey, it is your experience, it is your mindset. Everyone thinks differently, everyone believes differently, everyone loves differently. So
And
it's
too, what another thing is everyone's you pushed out. So when someone else is successful, you've actually created that for them. And if you can create that for them, you can definitely do it for yourself. So it's proof that you're doing your intentions. It's proof that you're creating. So, yeah, it's so amazing. Let's dive into the pocketbook. We could talk about this all day.
so we're both intending for much success for all of you, okay?
We do.
So one of my favorite techniques is and you could incorporate it into several other parts, like, inner conversations or your mental diet, which is very important, which is the self-talk, the talk that we have with ourselves all the time. Okay, so it is about you taking control of what is happening in here rather than letting in here take control of everything out here. So it's about being kind to yourself. And the way that I do self-talk, for example, my way of doing a mental diet is when I have a negative thought, I try to soothe myself by being really kind to myself. Like I say, you know what, Ivan, you got this. You're an amazing person. You're a wonderful person. You can do this. Whatever it is that you want, it's already yours. It's present for you. You know, you're a wonderful person that is deserving. You're enough. You're perfect. Everything. And actually, what was funny, even though we were not talking about successes, I remember I had received a message from, I think you were in it, Uli was in it, and you were all just complimenting me. It was one after the other and after, and I had just like, you know, was having that inner conversation with like, Ivy, you're amazing. You're having a wonderful day. Everything is perfect. And all of you were just being so kind and loving in that message. So it's like, you know, everything is happening, but it's happening within and then it's pushing out. So the way that you speak to yourself, the way that you're talking to others, the way that others are talking to you is an expression of what you're creating inside. Okay, so make sure you nurture it, that you take care of it, that you pick the right intentions and the right affirmations, or just, you know, I love having forgiveness talks sometimes when we do something that we feel a lot of resentment or guilt around. You know, talking and soothing to the situation is another form of revision. You know, saying, I had to go through that experience so that I could come up, so I could learn and become wiser and accept the thing that I want now. You know, so it's so many ways of doing self-talk. Is there any specific way you do it?
Me personally, yeah. I mean, I'll just be on top of my thoughts all day. And, you know, if I'm working on something and I have a negative thought about it, I'll immediately revise it to what I actually want. And then in my moments throughout the day, like let's say it's been a rough day, I'll do the same thing. I'm like, I'm having a great day. Everybody loves me. And in my car, I do a lot of intentions. But, you know, I do intentions to the point where I feel like I believe what I'm creating. And I get to the point of what am I even worried about? Of course, I'm going to get it. And then it shows up. So my biggest thing when I say for people to do a mental diet is check in with your feelings, because your thoughts create your feelings. So if you've got a situation that you're anxious about, okay, and you're saying you're doing a mental diet, that anxiety will actually melt away into calmness if you're saying the right things to yourself that you need to hear. So check in with your feelings, and you say if something's not manifesting but you're doing a mental diet, my first question always was to clients, well, how do you feel? Very anxious. Okay, so we're missing a couple thoughts here, right? Because if we're doing the mental diet correctly, we're not going to be anxious. Now, some people say to set an alarm, do intentions 3 times a day. That's totally great. I mean, definitely great. The more you focus and put more energy on something, the quicker it's going to happen. But it's those little moments throughout the day. Like, you know, I've had little arguments in the past in my head about Andrea. Then what happened the next day? Like, you know, a little inner conversation, like a complete argument, right? And what happens the next day? The same argument. And I'm like, oh my goodness, right? I'm like deja vu.
Yeah, also because we're living. Sometimes we allow. Well, you know, when we start to keep track of what we're thinking, when the awareness is present, we stop being on autopilot. So we stop reliving. You know, it's like I saw somewhere where like, you know, time is a circle. So we're always going around and around and around. So
Yeah, I like that.
we create
Yeah.
patterns, right? We're always creating patterns. So we get out of the habit by incorporating something new, something refreshing, to where the subconscious is actually stimulated and says, what's going on? Like, we used to feel this way. Now you're acknowledging your feelings. What is that about? You know?
Right. And that's you're right. It's acknowledge and then renounce it. So, you know, are you feeling lonely? Well, then what do you want to create to not feel lonely anymore? You know, and it's really comes down to that. And like Ivan's nailed it. Be aware. We've got to get off autopilot. We've got to be aware what's going in here. I know I've been guilty about going on autopilot, and I've noticed it 3 days later, and I've been like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Like, oops.
No, so I think it's probably one of my favorite things, and it's something that you incorporate, whether you're having inner conversations with your SP, with somebody else, with an opportunity, whatever. It is just the way that you're speaking within, or even speaking. I sometimes talk to myself out loud. I don't care if they think I'm crazy. I'm gonna do it. So the next one is scripting. I really like scripting, and the reason I really enjoy scripting is because scripting to me is like a learning process, you know? So when we are learning something new, we take notes. We acknowledge what they're telling us that they want us to learn so that we could learn them. So to me, pen to paper has always been has more of a meaning when I'm writing my intentions, because I feel like, yeah, like I'm learning something new. It's like I'm learning my intentions. And my subconscious, the way that it taught me how to read and write, the way that it taught me, how to write a paragraph or write a story, it's going to teach me how to live my intentions. So scripting to me is one of my favorite techniques to use. I usually do it mornings and nights. And scripting, whether it's a list of the things that I want to experience, whether it's a story that I want to experience, and I go in full detail, I put a lot of feeling into it, a lot of be very specific with the details, like even the smells, how it feels, everything. Incorporate your senses into your scripting. It's so fun, and I think it's sometimes so romantic if it's about an SP, because it's almost like a love letter, which is also another form of scripting, love letters to yourself, to others. So scripting is a really great way to express your creativity and really let out certain emotions that sometimes the analytical mind doesn't allow us to.
Exactly. And scripting automatically will get you to visualize any sentence you think, any words you think. Because remember, guys, your subconscious mind only sees in pictures. So anything you think, your subconscious mind will automatically create a visualization for. Same thing when you script. I like scripting, and I agree. You know what? My scripting is sometimes it's just point form intentions. Sometimes my scripting is actually writing something out. So I remember what I wanted to experience. Oh my God, another success story. Sorry, guys, we're just throwing these out here, but you can create this for you too. Don't compare yourself. So I remember I wanted to experience Andrew, at like basically dressed in a suit, and I'm dressed in a nice dress, and he grabs my hand, takes me out of this chair at this like event, and he like slow dances with me on the dance floor, just gazing into my eyes, right? But of course our relationship wasn't actually like that far. We were still dating at the time. But what happened was is we got invited to somebody's wedding, and he took me as his date. And of course what happened was is after dinner, that after the first dance, it was actually a wedding, the bride and groom danced, and then all of a sudden there was a slow song that came on, and everybody was allowed to go up, and all of a sudden Andrew got up, grabbed my hand, and exactly the way I scripted it, it was on the dance floor. But then the awkward part was even the gazing into my eyes part happened, but we weren't that comfortable with each other yet. So I was kind of like, oh my God, this is awkward. I'm like, what did I create here? Right. But now that would be totally different. That was when we were first dating. But so you can script absolutely anything, and Ivan's nailed it. Put what you're going to see, hear, and feel. What are you going to smell? What's the other person going to think? What are they going to sound like? What are they going to do? Like really put all the detail in there. A lot of people will script like an apology letter too.
Yeah, yeah, I've done that in the past. It's specifically with certain people. Releasing, and it's a wonderful way of revising the story, revising it outside of your ego sometimes. So it's a good. I like scripting. So remember that there's no right or wrong way of doing these techniques. It's you choosing. So the reason I wanted to share this is to give you an interpretation of how I do it and how I share with my clients. Okay.
Right.
And the last one, and probably one of my favorite ones, I think it was a game changer for me, is Ho'oponopono. And I mentioned it before. And the way I learned Ho'oponopono is because my cousin and my nephew used to do it for parking spaces or passing tests. So I was always like, what are you guys talking about? And I would hear them chant, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry. And all of a sudden, like, oh, we got it. And they were fun parking space. So I became curious as usual, and I was like, what is this Ho'oponopono? So I started to read it. And it's a ancient Hawaiian practice, a prayer, where you're releasing negative beliefs and blocks that were not only created by you, but by even society or even your ancestors, as they put it. So through saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, it's a sense of release where you don't even have to trigger the specific block, because your subconscious mind knows what it needs to forgive. Where are the areas in your life where you feel resentment or guilt or fear or doubt? So when you're saying the prayer takes care of it all. And it's a wonderful tool to use, especially in those moments where you're feeling extremely anxious. It's great to use, and actually it's evolved, because it used to be longer to where now it's become simpler to the 4 phrases. And actually it's even evolved even more, because I recently, I think it was like last year, I took like a small seminar about it, and all you have to say is thank you, which is very similar to Neville's "Isn't it wonderful? Thank you, thank you." So it's really interesting how everything is associated, but it's mostly associated with gratitude. an expression of gratitude, which I think is so important, especially if you're trying to create something. Be grateful for what's currently present, accepting the current moment by being gracious about it.
Right. I like Ho'oponopono because you know, it's about forgiving others if they've wronged you, but it's not even so much forgiving them, it's forgiving yourself for creating them to do it. And once you get into an apologetic state and you feel sorry for creating them to treat you the way that they did, then they're automatically going to shift into that. And that's the important thing, is that you're not forgiving others, you're forgiving yourself. You're forgiving yourself for creating people to treat you badly, or for somebody to do something bad to you. And you're just forgiving yourself because you're the only one in your universe. It's a you universe, right? Everyone's you pushed out. You're the only one in there. Everything is coming from in here out there, right? Those are such excellent techniques.
Yeah, I love Ho'oponopono. So I just say, like, sometimes I just go on a thank you rant. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Especially like if I'm driving and I have nothing else to think about. I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And something good always comes about. Like, trust me, it will.
Always, always, always. Well, thank you so much, Ivan, for having me on the video. This was so much fun. I've been a while. It's been a while.
Always keep talking to you. We always have the most amazing conversations beforehand. So thank you.
You do.
And please remember that I am available for one-on-one coaching. Links are down below. And thank you so much, you guys, for liking and supporting all of our videos. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.